What is the Krebs cycle? It's also known as the citric acid cycle. It is a sequence of chemical reactions that convert glucose, proteins, and fats into an energy source for living organisms. So where does the Krebs cycle happen? Well, these chemical reactions happen in an organelle in the animal cell called the mitochondrion, which is also known as the power plant of the whole cell. Why is this? Because this is the section where most of the energy is created, called ATP, or adenosine triphosphate. This process occurs in aerobic organisms. What are aerobic organisms? They're living organisms that require oxygen and growth for survival. Aerobic organisms mostly include animals and fungi.
Glycolysis is a process that uses glucose. And what is glucose? Glucose is a 6-carbon molecule which occurs in anaerobic organisms. And what are anaerobic organisms? They're organisms that do not require oxygen to thrive and flourish in the environment. It's not used by humans because we use carbohydrates and fats, and we break that down and create our own glucose. Glycolysis is a process where glucose is converted into 2 molecules of pyruvic acid. Also, another product of this metabolic pathway is 2 molecules of NADH. And what is NADH? NADH is a reduced coenzyme of NAD. And NAD is an electron carrier that helps carry glucose through the energy pathway.
So the end product of glycolysis is to create acetyl-CoA. Acetyl-CoA goes into the start of the Krebs cycle. It is then combined with a 4-carbon oxaloacetate, which is a 4-carbon molecule, and acetyl-CoA is a 2-carbon molecule to create a 6-carbon citric acid or citrate. In this process, carbon dioxide is then oxidized out of the process, as well as NADH, which is an electron carrier. So after step 1 occurs, which would be citrate or citric acid, and NADH leaves the process, as well as carbon dioxide is oxidized, it creates step number 2, which would be alpha ketoglutarate. Which, as the same process before, NADA requires a hydrogen, which would be NADH plus, and as well as before, carbon dioxide is then oxidized out of the process to make succinyl-CoA.
As before, the succinyl-CoA was created, and then in the process the coenzyme A is removed to make succinate. And in this process, there is enough energy created that ATP is released in this pathway. After the succinate is formed, it is oxidized to form fumarate. And in this process, the electron carrier FADH2 is produced. And this FADH2 is used to power or carry high energy electrons in the electron transport chain. Okay. After this fumarate is created, the final oxidation creates malate. And in this final process, the electron carrier NADH is created, which is an electron carrier. And for each, there's 2 molecules of pyruvate that were created in the glycolysis. So for each molecule of glucose, this Krebs cycle is repeated twice.
The Krebs cycle. acetyl-CoA and oxaloacetate create citrate to create alpha-ketoglutarate to create succinyl-CoA, which drops the A to produce succinate, which produces fumarate that turns into malate and once again starts with oxaloacetate to create this never-ending cycle. This 8-stage Krebs cycle is a continuous cycle that is necessary for living organisms. We need this energy and electron carriers that are produced in this pathway to carry out this electron carry transport chain.